guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back, and it is May 18th, and it's Saturday at 10:01 p.m. Eastern Time. I said I would be back. I did upload a video earlier, so I hope that you have caught that one. And I said I would come back. I had some errands to run in between. I had 5 loads of laundry on the go. Yes, 5. My mother says, I don't know how it's possible that one person makes so much laundry. But the thing is that she doesn't understand is I have 2 cats, and when I do my bedding once a week, and that's like 3 loads right there. Blankets, bedding. So anyway, yeah, there you go. So I have clean laundry, and I know you are very worried about that. So I just wanted to let you know it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. I've got clean clothes. All right, let's go on. We've got plenty of news to get to, and so I have to cease being silly and actually get to it because I probably could do 3 videos tonight, but I'm going to cap it at 2, but this will probably be longer than the first one. All right, so let's take a look at this first. And Loretta Lynch, good news for us, Loretta Lynch is facing 25 years for FISA fraud. Yes, Loretta Lynch looks to be the Obama official facing the longest prison stretch of anyone at 25 years. It's 5 years for every case of FISA fraud. James Comey is next at 20 years. Now, I don't know. I always thought that treason was punishable by death. I don't know. Certainly, if anyone deserves death as a sentence, it would be Hillary Clinton and Obama. But we'll have to wait and see. That's because the director of the FBI and the attorney general must sign off on every FISA application. There were 4 successful applications and 1 unsuccessful one, and Lynch would have signed off on all 5. Comey was fired prior to the 4th and final application against Carter Page. When you sign off on the application, you are swearing that you have confirmed the evidence you present to the FISA court. Last night on the Laura Ingraham angle on Fox News, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo noted that Obama Attorney General Loretta Lynch signed off on most all the FISA warrants during Obama's last couple years in office. Emphasis added. Now, as somebody who's worked on FISA applications, I can tell you how high it would go because under the FISA law itself, the Attorney General has to approve the FISA application. So if the Steele dossier, which we now know was completely made up, was used as a basis for FISA application, then you have somebody that was high up in the FBI that had to approve that. Somebody high up in the Justice Department had to approve that. Ultimately, the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, has to approve that. And then a second thing we haven't touched on yet is that appears that the FBI attempted to send undercover informants and agents to infiltrate the Trump campaign. There's a whole other set of laws that are called the Attorney General Guidelines, which are supposed to only allow that in very rare circumstances. So I assume the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General and maybe FBI Director Comey all had to sit in on that decision and approve it. So there you go. That's very interesting. I am hoping that that is so. That was it was from May 15th. So 3 days ago. I'm a little behind. All right. Now let's go on because there's more good news to get to. And yeah, I was going to bring this before. It's actually a little bit old now, but it's probably new to you guys because you Americans anyway. So Trudeau government to release approved list of newspapers and websites. Yeah, because we need our hands held here, and we have to rely on the government to tell us what's safe and not safe. Yes. The Trudeau government is set to release what they call an A list of newspapers and websites deemed reliable under a multi-million-dollar subsidy program. This list will be determined by federal agencies, according Blacklock's reporter. Senator Ray L. Andrechuk of Saskatchewan pointed out that selection committees appointed by the government means we're intruding on the freedom of the press. Oh gosh, yes, they're not just intruding on it. They are murdering the free press. Literally. Stick a knife in it. Stick a fork in it. It's done. We don't have free press anymore here. We don't. This is a concerning development. If the federal government begins to declare which newspapers and websites are considered reliable, then how could any normal Canadian trust such a list? Well, I wouldn't. From Katie Telford, Chief of Staff to Prime Minister Trudeau, suggesting that she could score Jody Wilson-Raybould positive op-eds and positive coverage in newspapers if she complied with the PMO's wish, on SNC-Lavalin to Ralph Goodale, the Public Safety Minister, wishing to monitor and censor your local media. It is clear that Trudeau government cannot be trusted with our media. Trudeau government can't be trusted with anything. The Trudeau Foundation, their symbol is the symbol for pedophilia, and yeah, he's in up past his eyeballs, and there is very strong connections to the Nexium case as well. So this is not somebody you could trust ever. The feds previously announced they would be bailing out the media to the tune of $600 million. This led to Albertan MP Tom Kamick asking the Finance Committee if an organization such as the Post Millennial would be eligible for the bailout. Yeah, it wouldn't be, because this is alternative news media and it would not be eligible for anything. Very, very few alt media sites in Canada reporting on Canadian stuff, and it's very hard, I find, to research anything Canadian because they are so tight-lipped about everything, and hardly anything gets to the news. I mean, lots could be happening, but you won't see a word of it in the news. So anyway, there you go. All right, let's go back now. We'll get out of Canada because I know that most of you are from the States, but we also have some Canadian listeners, so I wanted to throw that in there. You guys are not the only ones that are going through problems. Certainly the Canadians are facing the same sort of thing. In fact, it's worse here because we are so close to socialism, it's not even funny. That's why I can't wait to get back to my home, the United States. All right. Now, this is interesting. I reported on this last night, but of course you didn't see it because the file was corrupted. So, hate when that happens. So, we'll try and hit this again. Exclusive 2016 Arizona police report. Cocaine pipe found in car rented by Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Authorities declined to prosecute. Well, of course they would. His father was the VP at the time. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, and by the way, there's no such thing as a cocaine pipe. It's a crack pipe. I'm sure they were trying to make it sound a little bit more upbeat, a little classier. Cocaine sounds a little classier than crack, but there's no such thing as a cocaine pipe. It's a crack pipe. Yeah. All right, let's go on. And there he is. Oh, well. And his father's so proud of him. He's a chip off the old block, isn't he? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's read this story. It'll make you want to spit. Don't spit on me, though. I don't like that. It's yucky. Okay. Breitbart News has exclusively obtained a heretofore unreported on police report from days before the 2016 presidential election that describes how a cocaine pipe that authorities determined was used to smoke cocaine. Yeah, that's generally what cocaine pipes are for. It's to smoke crack cocaine. Yeah, just wanted to let you know. So this cocaine pipe that was used to smoke cocaine was found in a rental car returned to an Arizona Hertz location in the middle of the night. Also found in the vehicle were several personal effects of Hunter Biden, then VP Joe Biden's son, like 2 of his DC driver's license. Yeah, what's he doing with 2 driver's license? That's illegal, by the way. So there you go. He had 2 driver's license, multiple credit cards, and personally identifying information like a Delaware Attorney General badge and a U.S. Secret Service business card that police said bore his name. Yeah, he never worked for the Secret Service. So why is he trying to pretend like he's one of them? Yeah, weird. Anyway, okay. Hunter Biden, according to the police report, had rented the vehicle from a location in California with the intent to return it to the Prescott, Arizona location, where it was discovered the morning after it was dropped off with the drug paraphernalia and Hunter Biden's personal effects inside. How wasted do you have to be to leave your crack cocaine pipe and your all your identifying information in the vehicle? Really, how wasted do you have to be? And turn it in the middle of the night. Little odd, but oh wait, it gets odder. Yes, it does. Instead of returning the car keys to the drop box where any normal person would return them, because like everybody knows that. Everybody. Where after hours returns are supposed to go, the car was returned, according to the police report, with the keys left in the gas tank compartment of the vehicle. Oh, well, that's a reasonable place to put them. I always put my keys in the gas tank, where the gas goes. Yeah, it's a reasonable place to leave it. No, it's not. It's not reasonable by anybody's definition of reasonable. All right, so doesn't know enough to put the keys in the drop box. Not too bright. He's not a bright boy, I'm telling you. So, also found inside the vehicle, per the police report, were 2 driver's licenses, both bearing Hunter Biden's legal name, Robert Biden, as well as some credit cards with the same name, a Secret Service business card, and an Attorney General badge. I don't think he's ever been an Attorney General either. Yeah, and he was part of the Navy, but he got kicked out after 1 month, and guess what he was kicked out for? That's right, he tested positive for cocaine. So anyway, the boy has a problem. Now, all contained inside a wallet that Hertz rental employees discovered, along with the pipe that Hertz employees thought and police later confirmed was used to smoke illicit drugs, as well as a white powdery substance in the armrest of the vehicle. Okay, so the guy returns the vehicle. He, instead of putting the key where normal people always put the key in the drop box, he puts it in the, excuse me, the receptacle, the gas, where the gas goes. Excuse me. And he leaves his fake ID that identifies him. He leaves his crack pipe, and he leaves illicit drugs, which I would assume would be the crack, in the armrest of the vehicle. Again, how wasted do you have to be? The next morning, according to the police report, a man who identified himself as Joseph McGee called the Hertz rental car counter to inform them of how the keys to the car were left in the vehicle's gas cap rather than in the normal spot. McGee informed the rental car company employee, according to police, that his friend was feeling sick, so he didn't know what to do. Yeah. When the car was returned. Yeah. Police, according to a supplemental report filed by Prescott Police Department, detectives sought and obtained a subpoena to discover the source of the Joseph McGee phone call and trace it to a phone number owned and operated by a renowned colon hydrotherapist in the region. Can't make this stuff up, people. You can't. I assume you all know what a colon hydrotherapist is. It's when they stick water up your butt and they flush out your colon. Yeah. All right. Police attempted to find and interview Joseph McGee, but were unable to, and they also, per the documents, attempted to call Hunter Biden himself from the phone number he provided to the rental car company. Prescott Police Department officials were unable to reach Hunter Biden during the investigation for an interview on the matter, though, according to the documents, they did attempt to call him. One of Prescott Police Department's officers who responded to the initial scene wrote that, according to his sergeant, described in the report as Sergeant Small, the Secret Service had informed the local police that Robert Biden had been located by the Secret Service and was well. Yeah. Laboratory analysis by the Arizona Department of Public Safety later determined that the pipe discovered in the vehicle was used to smoke cocaine, not meth, but fingerprints were not found on the device. So he was okay enough to wipe his fingerprints off the pipe, but not okay enough to actually take the pipe with him and his drugs and his ID. Yeah. So the 23 pages of law enforcement and police documents repeatedly refer to the suspect under investigation as Robert Hunton Biden and the report type as narcotics offense. Breitbart News is publishing the documents here and with redactions made to remove personal identifying contact information like address and phone numbers, as well as the last names of key witnesses. Yeah. Two different Prescott police officers, as well as a detective, conducted an investigation, but ultimately local authorities in both the city and county attorney's office declined to prosecute the case. I wonder why. A document shows the reason the county attorney declined to prosecute the vice president's son is because they thought they would only be able to get minor charges to stick and kicked it down to the city attorney. It is unclear from the documents why the city attorney declined to prosecute. Well, my bet is that they were paid off and paid handsomely, because you just don't. Or maybe they didn't want to mess with the VP's son. Don't know. Or maybe they were afraid to mess with the VP's son. I don't know, but it's pretty bad. In addition to local police, FBI and the U.S. Secret Service agents were roped into the case as well. The FBI dispatched agents to the scene, according to the law enforcement documents, and the Secret Service communicated with various law enforcement officials investigating and confirmed that Hunter Biden was not in harm's way. So he must have been the friend that this McGee guy, the colon guy, I guess they were bum buddies. I don't know. But maybe they did colon hydrotherapy together. Who knows? But anyway, he said that his friend, and by that I would assume it was Hunter Biden, was not feeling well and he didn't know what to do. Well, I wonder why he wasn't feeling well. Well, you tell me. Okay. As his father launches yet another bid for the presidency, Hunter Biden has emerged as a major scandal-prone problem for the former vice president and leading Democrat candidate for the 2020 nomination. And if Joe Biden is, scratch and sniff Biden, if he is the front runner for the Democrat party, then they are in big, major trouble. Just saying. Anyway, Hunter Biden has emerged as a major scandal-prone problem for the former vice president and leading Democrat candidate for the 2020 nomination. Hunter Biden's position at Ukrainian national gas company Burisma Holdings has come under scrutiny in the wake of his father's push as vice president to pressure the Ukrainian government to terminate a governmental investigation. Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin, who was investigating Burisma Holdings, his firm also received a $1 billion private equity investment from the Chinese Communist government after he and his father traveled to Beijing toward the end of Barack Obama's presidency, and while Hunter Biden alleged corruption connections with his father's official government actions remain the central focus of deep dive reporting on the Bidens. The former president's son has been problematic for the 2020 frontrunner in many more ways too. Back in 2014, Hunter Biden was discharged dishonorably from the Navy after failing a drug test that his commander said he should have known was coming. All sailors would be advised of the zero tolerance policies when reporting abroad, Captain Jack Hanslick, commander of the Navy Public Affairs Support Element based in Norfolk, Virginia, said in 2014, according to USA Today, and they would be advised of the testing practices of the organization as well. Hanslick was the commander of the unit to which Hunter Biden was assigned for his brief time in the Navy, which, according to the Wall Street Journal, lasted only a month. His Navy commission required multiple waivers, one to waive the age requirement and another to waive past drug convictions, which would have disqualified him. Then, within about a month of his commission as a naval officer, he was dishonorably discharged for the positive drug test. After Hunter Biden's brother, Beau, died, he began dating Beau's widow, Holly, but they reportedly split up in 2019. Hunter Biden's first wife, Kathleen, divorced him very messily in 2017. Kathleen alleged in court filings that Hunter Biden blew tons of the family's money on hookers, strip clubs, and drugs, like father like son. While most of these incidents have all been reported publicly, this Prescott, Arizona incident just days before the 2016 general election has never been reported until now. This public reporting of this Arizona incident comes in the wake of Joe Biden publicly defending his son Hunter Biden in an Associated Press interview where the former vice president was fending off allegations of impropriety regarding the Ukraine situation in particular. But during the interview, the former vice president said his son has great integrity. Well, when somebody who has completely no integrity says that a relative of theirs has great integrity, yeah, I wouldn't give that I would pay that no mind, because Biden is probably the last person that could be a judge of great integrity. I don't think he's ever experienced integrity in his life. Certainly doesn't practice it anyway, if he has. I have great confidence in my son, Joe Biden said. He's a man of great integrity. Okay, if you say so. The police report in this incident is particularly detailed as officers in the Prescott, Arizona Police Department investigated Hunter Biden for months from the time of the actual incident in late October 2016 until at least late February 2017, according to police filings. On 10/28/2016, at approximately 22 hours, Robert Biden returned a rental vehicle to Hertz Car Rental at 65 McCurdy Drive and left his identifications, credit cards, attorney general badge, a cell phone, a meth pipe, and a used bindle to meth inside the vehicle. Reads the police report obtained by Breitbart News and authored on October 29, 2016 by Officer Troy Crawford of the Prescott, Arizona Police Department. Officer Crawford explains in the police report that he and Officer Aaron Jennison of the Prescott Police Department received a call shortly after noon the next day reporting suspicious activity. Upon arrival, I made contact with a Hertz rental employee named Emily, last name redacted. Crawford wrote, Emily took me to the vehicle that she moved from its parked spot to an area just north of the parking lot of Crystal Drive. I arrived at the location and observed a silver Jeep Compass with a Nevada license plate parked facing west in a gravel area. Emily told me that they got the call at approximately 1000 hours from a Joseph McKee, stating that his friend had left the car there overnight and the keys were in the gas cap area. Officer Crawford continued, Emily told me that McGee told her that his friend was feeling sick, so they didn't know what to do. Emily stated that the car was supposed to be returned last night at 2000 hours. Emily stated the store closed at 1700 hours, so no one was present when the vehicle was returned. Officer Crawford continued in his report by noting what Emily said happened next. Emily said she went over to the car that was parked in the furthest northwest parking spot that Hertz owns and recorded the gas and mileage. Crawford wrote, Emily stated she noticed there was personal property inside the vehicle. Emily said that there was a wallet with an attorney general badge, 2 driver's license that had the name of Robert Biden, some credit cards with the same name, and a Secret Service business card. Emily said the items were laid out on the passenger side dashboard. Emily also stated there was a pipe that she thought was used to smoke meth and a white powdery substance in the armrest of the vehicle. From there, Emily processed the rental car return like normal, Officer Crawford wrote, but the credit card on file was being declined. Well, how do you like that? Emily stated they pushed the card through for payment, Officer Crawford wrote. Emily stated she called Joseph's number back to let him know the car had been returned, and a female answered the phone. Emily asked for Joseph and let him know that the car was returned, but Joseph never asked for the property left in the car. Emily said it felt weird, so she contacted her manager, who contacted police. Emily stated while she was contacting her manager, she looked up the name on the internet and realized the IDs and the credit cards belonged to Vice President Joe Biden's son. Officer Jennison's supplemental report also describes, from Hertz manager Jennifer's perspective, how the rental car facility staff discovered that the car with suspicious materials inside was rented by the son of then Vice President of the United States. Jennifer managed 3 different Hertz rental car locations and was at a different one when her staff called her to inform her of what was discovered. According to Officer Jennison, Jennifer stated that Emily and Zach told her that they had Googled the name Robert Biden and that a photo came up of the subject online matched that of the photo of the Washington, D.C. driver's licenses. Why would you need 2 Washington, D.C. driver's licenses? Good question. When police arrived on scene, according to Officer Crawford's report, they found even more evidence in the vehicle. When I approached the vehicle, I observed several items on the dashboard of the passenger side, Officer Crawford wrote. I later discovered they were IDs and Attorney General badge Emily was talking about. Emily stated she put those items back in the dash area where she located them. I opened the passenger side door, and when I did, I observed a small white and brown pipe, approximately 3 to 4 inches long, and a small Ziploc bag with white powdery substance inside, all sitting on the passenger seat. Emily was asked if she'd touched the items. Emily stated she did not. She did pick up the pipe because she did not know what it was. Emily said that she was told when she placed everything back inside the vehicle. A Hertz incident report, rental agreement, smoke filter, and a multi-tool were also located on the floor on the front passenger side of the vehicle. A cell phone was later located under the driver's seat. Why would you leave all that stuff? I mean, he really must not have been feeling well. He was probably out of his head. That would be my inclination. The officer wrote that he asked Emily about the incident report discovered in the Biden rental vehicle, and she explained that Hunter Biden was in an accident and traded a vehicle in for this silver Compass in Palm Springs, California. Emily stated that the incident report is supposed to document how the accident happened and where the damage to the vehicle was located. Officer Crawford continued, when I looked at the report, I observed Robert Biden's name on the report along with his Washington, D.C. address and phone numbers. Now, this is really, really long, and I'm going to leave a link to it, but I'm not going to continue reading all this because it just goes on and on and on and on. But there's very interesting, little tidbits in there. But I think it's interesting that, wasn't it Joe Biden that said something about Trump's sons? I'm thinking it was. I could be mistaken, but I'm almost certain that it was. And that makes me laugh because, wow, his son is a piece of work. A piece of work, yes. So anyway, doesn't surprise me though. All right, now let's look at this. No, really, let's. Yeah, this from the Activist Post. 5 years in prison for offending someone online, and other news from the Twilight Zone. And this is actually from today, so this is fresh news. Let the weekly absurdity begin. New SAT scoring will combat Asian privilege. The infamous SAT has been used since 1926 as a sort of university entrance exam to objectively test high school students' scholastic aptitude. Until now, test administrators announced plans this week to include an adversary score for every student taking the SAT. This score will excuse poor test results if the student lives in a high crime neighborhood, went to a poor high school, is living in a single parent or low income household, and so on. And this should really put a dent in Asian privilege. Yes, you read that right. With an average SAT score of 1,223, Asians achieve the highest marks among all the ethnic groups tracked by SAT administrators. But these same Asian test takers also typically come from dual parent higher income households, so they'll be penalized because of their parents' success. This is truly amazing to be teaching. This is a truly amazing thing to be teaching young people. Universities and the SAT administrators don't want high school students to identify as strong, self-reliant, independent individuals who seek to solve problems and overcome adversity. Instead, they're encouraging young people to make their socioeconomic circumstances the strongest part of their identities, and based on those socioeconomic circumstances, cultivate a guilt or victim mentality and expect penalties or handouts for the rest of their lives. Now, this is kind of wild to me because you've got the rich people buying their kids' ways into college, and we know that happened because of the whole furor over that. So we got the rich people buying their way into the college, and we've got the poor people now who will be given a adversity score, which will help them to get in. Now, what happens to the middle class students? Just wondering. I guess they're just out of luck. So now, if you're poor, you're from a poor neighborhood and crime-ridden neighborhood, your parents are poor, you'll be given an adversity score. Okay. Yeah. Harvard lynch mob runs professor off campus. Harvard professor Robert Sullivan has spent his career as a lawyer defending some of the poorest people in the country. He was previously the public defender in Washington, D.C. and personally overturned dozens of wrongful convictions. Professor Sullivan also represented Michael Brown's family after the teen was shot to death by police. Huffington Post even called him the man who dealt the biggest blow to mass incarceration. But now he and his wife, the first black student housing deans in Harvard history, have been run off campus by an angry mob of Me Too zealots. His crime? Joining Harvey Weinstein's defense team. Sullivan believes in justice for all, as we all should, and that even a man like Weinstein, who has already been convicted by the twittering classes in the court of public opinion, is entitled to competent legal defense. Absolutely. It is particularly important for this category of unpopular defendant to receive the same process as everyone else, perhaps even more important. To the degree we deny unpopular defendants basic due process rights, we cease to be the country we imagine ourselves to be. Powerful words that absolutely ring true, but now all these whiny students at Harvard claim they no longer feel safe with Sullivan on campus, and they've demanded the university do something. Sadly, Harvard has buckled under the pressure, and they announced earlier this week that they would not renew his appointment as faculty dean at Harvard College Winthrop House. These social justice warriors are starting to feed on their own. Yes, they are. Now, and this is the last prison for online trolls in Australia. That's right. Online trolls could soon face up to 5 years in prison. 5. If the Prime Minister of Australia gets his way, anyway. It's already illegal to menace, harass, or cause offense online in Australia. That's right, it's illegal to offend someone in Australia. And that cybercrime carries up to 3 years in prison if reasonable persons would consider the online behavior offensive or menacing. Wow. But the Prime Minister wants a stiffer penalty of up to 5 years for offending someone else's delicate feelings. As usual, the government keeps their laws nice and obscure so that they can make the case that practically anyone has broken them. Isn't that true? And I just noticed this. I hadn't read this before. Charges dropped against Florida man with "I eat ass" bumper sticker. Speaking of offending people, last week a sheriff's deputy in Florida arrested a man because he had a bumper sticker which eloquently read "I eat ass." I almost have to admire the transparency. This man leaves no question about where he stands on the issue. The officer pulled the man over because of the obscene sticker and insisted he remove all or part of it, but the man refused, citing his First Amendment free speech right to display potentially offensive bumper stickers. So the officer charged him with violating obscenity laws as well as resisting arrest without violence. The prosecutors determined bringing a case against him would be met with a valid First Amendment defense, so the charges were dropped. Yeah. Okay. Now I think that that bumper sticker is obscene, but I would defend the man's right to use it, because if his right to free speech are violated, then so will all of ours. Yeah, I don't like it, but in the interest of free speech, he should be allowed. So, and they knew it at the time, otherwise they wouldn't have dropped the charges. All right, now let's, boy, we're just all over the map today with news items, but what can you do? Now, this from Donald J. Trump. My campaign for president was conclusively spied on. Nothing like this has ever happened in American politics. A really bad situation. Treason means long jail sentences, and this was treason. So I really view this as him preparing us by using the word treason and, means long jail sentences. He's preparing us. And I think that is really important to realize what he's doing here, because that means that it's coming. It's coming probably soon. He is starting to prepare people. So that is interesting, to say the least. And this from Matt Walsh. Over the last 24 hours, pro-abortion people have threatened to kill me, kill my family, rape my wife, rape my daughter, and assault me. They've wished death on me, on my children, on all pro-lifers. They've wished rape on my wife and my daughter. And De Oppresso Liber responds to this and said these people are filled with satanic hate. They would not bat an eye at executing you and I for being patriots. Read the comments at Matt Walsh blog retweets. These people must be defeated no matter the cost. So Matt Walsh, who is pro-life, has been threatened and so forth on his Twitter. Of course, nothing's been done about it. But it's interesting because it seems if you are on Twitter and you put anything pro-life, anything related to pro-life, you will be, well, harassed, threatened, and whatever else. All right, this from Methods. Since some say Boom Week didn't happen, and then he lists the things that happened this week. Durham reveal, Senate confirmation of Rosen for Deputy Attorney General, another Ninth Circuit judge, Flynn document showing cooperation with multiple investigations, 6 deputy directors of Italian intel agencies requested to resign, Theresa May set to resign. And that's not all. There were other things that happened this week. Yes, I thought that there was going to be a big boom as well. I thought it would pertain to Comey, but I don't know. I can't pretend to know the mind of Q and what he means by a boom week. There has been booms this week, not earth-shattering ones, but there have been, and there will continue to be as time goes on. Remember, there's only 2 weeks left in May, and we're expecting the Inspector General's report, which is supposed to come out next week. It's actually being looked at now. And before that happens, we're supposed to see the declassification. And so, I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on it. That might be painful to keep an eye on it, but I don't know. I take things very literally because I am a logophile. A logophile is somebody that loves words, and I love words. So, yeah. Okay, now let's look at this. You know, for all those people that say, it's no problem, just let everybody walk over the border, no problem. Well, here we have an illegal alien in Texas charged with killing at least 11 elderly women. Now, I read 12 elsewhere, so I don't know if it's 11 or 12, including a 94-year-old woman. Please tell me who kills a 94-year-old woman, really. She survives her whole life. Imagine in her 94 years what she has seen over her lifetime, and she ends up having her life taken by this scum. So then says Democrats did this. You say you care about women? I'm calling BS. Absolutely. Now, this man was in the country illegally. He's been charged with 11 murders in Texas, and I read 12, so I don't know which is correct. But you know, it says charged with killing at least. So they don't even know how many he's killed. He's a serial killer, and he is the most prolific serial killer in Texas history. And he is here illegally. So there are at least 11 that would be alive had they been properly vetting people at the border and not just letting anyone walk over willy-nilly because they want to be in the States. So anyway, we've got that. And let's see what else we have here. Yeah, I think I am going to... Hang on here. This was... there we go. This is a little odd. Not really. It's not really that odd, considering. Levine, what in the hell is Dianne Feinstein doing talking on an iPhone to the Iranian foreign minister? And this is from yesterday. I don't know. I'd like to know. Wouldn't you? Yeah, I really would. So, Thursday on the radio show, Levine, TV host Mark Levine, called out the hypocrisy of the Democrats after Senator Dianne Feinstein was caught on the phone with Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif earlier Thursday, and the media said nothing. Well, naturally they would. But what if that was a Republican that was on the phone with the Iranian foreign minister? What would happen then? All hell would break loose. It would be in all the media. All right. He's the foreign minister to an enemy state that seeks to attack American military personnel in the Middle East, that seeks to put nuclear warheads on ICB, intercontinental ballistic missiles, so they can reach the United States. It's a terrorist regime, an Islamo-Nazi regime in Tehran that has killed Americans, that funds Hezbollah to kill Americans, that funds Hamas to kill, and is a threat to our national security. Obviously, Levine said. What in the hell is the ranking Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee doing talking on an iPhone around the Capitol to Javad Zarif? I don't know. What is it with these Democrats fronting for the Islamo-Nazi regime that wants to kill Americans and Jews in Israel? You've got Feinstein. Frankenfeinstein. That's pretty good. You've got John Kerry, or the real Frankenstein, giving aid and comfort to the enemy. It's not enough that they released $150 billion to this regime. Now they're giving it advice against the president of the United States. You want to talk about the Logan Act? You want to talk about collusion? Yeah. So, Feinstein issued a statement shortly after the phone call urging Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to reach out to Zarif. So now she's a mouthpiece for the enemy, Levine said, a mouthpiece for the enemy. She sits on the Senate Intelligence Committee. For years, she had a driver who was a communist spy for Red China. Her husband has done business, a lot of business, with communist China. They've made a lot of money doing business with communist China. Anybody going to subpoena her about her phone call? Anybody going to subpoena her about her driver? Anybody going to subpoena her husband about his business dealings with Red China? Of course not. It all goes one way. Anybody going to subpoena her and question her about her contacts with the foreign minister of Iran and other contacts she may have had in undermining the administration? Can you imagine? It'd be like World War II. You have FDR and then you have senators contacting the Third Reich. Levine pointed out that the media, of course, has said nothing about Feinstein's phone call. Don Trump Jr. has a meeting with a couple of Russians. Meeting turns out to be nothing, and it's the crime of the century, except Mueller says it's not, but the media says it is. You have Diane Feinstein on her damn cell phone with the foreign minister of Iran. Anybody want to know what they discussed? No, that's Diane. We like her, Levine said. Yeah, I like his sarcasm there. A little bit of sarcasm is a good thing. All right. So, yeah, I'd like to know. And, you know, there's completely two sets of rules in Washington. One for the Democrats and one for the Republicans. We can clearly see that. So, let's get out of here. No, really, let's. I've got one more thing to show you, and then I'm going to sign off for the night. And here it is. I've been waiting because I keep thinking, maybe I shouldn't show this, but I'm gonna. Gosh darn it, I'm going to. And you can't stop me. All right. Christian boys. Now, wait, I've got it. This is very disturbing, okay? It's disturbing, so I'm just warning you in advance. If you want to turn the video off now, perhaps you should, because it is, I'm warning you, it's disturbing. Christian boys are chained, beaten, and forced to memorize the Quran to convert them to Islam. Men who refuse to convert are imprisoned, hung, nailed to trees, mutilated, or killed. Girls as young as 9 years old are given to Muslim soldiers to be raped. Is this what we want for our children? It's horrific. So let's look at this.
Seeking to create a new generation void of any Christian faith. Christian boys made to study the Arabic language and memorize the entire Quran. Rising for prayers before dawn and studying until the late hours of the night, they are indoctrinated into the strict teachings of the Islamic faith. Those who refuse to cooperate are beaten and chained until they improve their studies.
Young boys being beaten, showed them chained, walking down these dusty paths around the school compound with chains. In one school, they have to write on a small board that they carry with them Quranic verses, and then wash this board and drink the water. And their teachers tell them that drinking this water causes them or helps them to memorize this fast.
Young girls were given over to the sexual pleasures of the Islamic soldiers. Girls as young as 9 have been repeatedly violated. Christian men who refuse to submit to the Islamic movement have been imprisoned, beaten, and oftentimes mutilated. Others have been hung, nailed to trees, or drowned in the river Nile.
Yeah, lovely. And more and more we are seeing this creeping into our country. I think we need to be on alert. I don't know. Seems to be there's so few people that want to do anything about it. But anyway, now that is it for tonight, and I'm going to end there. Hopefully this one will actually upload and be okay, and I won't get a corruption error. But if I do, I'll start over again and I'll try it again, because I'm determined All right. So that's it for tonight. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and seek truth, because deception bites. Thank you, guys. I love you all. I really do. And I love reading your comments. They always cheer me up. So that's it for tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.